When you need a lot of content in a short amount of time, this is how you get that content created. Getting started. In case the title of this book didn't give you a hint, our focus is going to be on creating a lot of content in a short amount of time. There are a number of techniques that we'll be using throughout the book to get you on your way to craft content creation and making some serious money. Our primary concern is article creation. We'll discuss the specifics and semantics of articles later on in this book, but the short story is that articles are what fuel marketing power of your business. Articles can be transformed and combined into more advanced types of content, like the eBook you're reading now. Articles can also be used for promotional purposes like backlinking blogs and sales pages. In this book, we're going to cover a plethora of techniques for you to become a more efficient, more productive content creator. The granddaddy of these techniques is called speed writing. Of all the techniques we'll discuss, this one will have the most bearing on your speed and production ability. We'll also discuss when to do it yourself and when to outsource. Generally, doing it yourself will save you tons of money, while outsourcing will save you time. There are a lot of options and outcomes to weigh when deciding what is right for you. The title of this book is How to Create Craploads of Content Fast. So let's not drag this intro out any longer. On to the ebook. Quick writing techniques. Great copywriting is the cornerstone of internet marketing. You can have the fanciest website with all the newest features and $1 million design, but what ultimately sells your products and services is the actual content of your sales pages and advertising platforms. The higher the quality of your copy and the more you produce, the better your traffic and sales will be. When you have tons of quality content, you get better traffic, higher click-through rates, higher buy rates, and better search engine results. The question, however, is how can you create quality articles that grab people's attention and are really high quality but do it fast? Well, the trick is to have a system that you can follow time and time again to get your writing genius ready to roll like a fine-tuned machine. If you don't prepare and have a well-developed system, your writing is just going to turn into an unorganized mess that ends up going nowhere. So to keep you disciplined and the keyboard humming, you should attempt to have a routine that can have you spinning articles quickly and effectively to draw the right kind of traffic and attention to your site. Our goal. When you sit down to write an article, there's a process you have to follow. You need to research the market to find good topics. You need to narrow it down to a single topic, find the good keywords, and then proceed to write the article. Then, if you're like most writers, you might do this again for each article you intend to submit to article directories or post on a website. While that's an effective approach, it's certainly quite time-consuming and disjointed. Wouldn't it be better if you created a factory assembly line of writing that allowed you to focus on creating quality and high-interest articles without so much constant back and forth? It definitely would, and you definitely can. By following the steps in this book, you should be able to identify and locate topics quickly. You will learn how to use an understanding of search engines to quickly identify highly sought-after topics. You can either find high-volume keywords that increase your traffic or high-paying keywords that can add money to your marketing coffers. Research topics effectively. Find out which tools can speed your research efforts and make you a research speed demon. Generate multiple articles for one topic. You can learn how to create 10 to 30 articles from a single topic. Create attention-grabbing titles. Without a headliner that grabs a reader, the article may never be read. You will learn how to write titles that pull the reader in and stands out amongst other articles. Understand proper internet article structure for your topic. Understand how to write articles that are structured to be informational while captivating. Know exactly what type of structure you will need to create just from the category of the article. Use the system to do multiple projects at once. Once you've got a system in place that you're using, the more you work with it, the faster you get. Eventually, it will also help you to do 2 projects or more at once and not get lost as you switch from one to the other. That's when you'll really be steaming through pages and pages with speed writing Olympic speed. Aptitude is necessary. Before you waste any time on techniques that won't help you, let's get something straight. If you're an internet marketer and trying to save some money on copywriters, then you'll have to learn speed writing. Otherwise, the cost to benefit of saving some money while spending inordinate amounts of time to create content for your website and marketing efforts won't make any sense. You could easily save more money paying a top-notch copywriter to write your own articles for you if you're going to take too long to do your own. But once you have this skill down, you can learn to write your own articles and save a whole lot of money. Even if you decide you don't want to implement speed writing in your internet marketing skill set, you will know enough to be able to know what you can expect from great copywriters. We'll discuss this more thoroughly in the next chapter. And when would these techniques come in handy? Well, as an internet marketer, your two goals are to bring traffic to your site and to make sales. Either one of these actions puts money in your pocket, either through advertising or through closing a sale. So all of the speed writing you do should go straight towards these two goals, even if they don't appear to be entirely connected. Traffic-oriented content. Even if your website has excellent products, spectacular services, and great offers, if you have no traffic, it's all going to waste. You won't get much ad revenue or profit without any traffic. So how do internet marketers bring traffic to their sites? Typically by writing copy on other sites that have a large audience and then directing them back to their site through a backlink. One very popular way to do this is to write multiple articles for article directories and submit them for free. These websites are heavily indexed by the major search engines, and your article stands a good chance of appearing high up on the results page. Not only that, but they also serve the dual purpose of helping to define the author of these articles as an expert on a particular topic. As the author, you get to write up a brief explanation of your credentials with a backlink to a page that is not a devoted sales page. So you can have a backlink back to an intermediary blog, a page on your website that does not promote a product, or even a sales page that isn't very obvious, or you'll get banned. These article directories have been a tried and proven way to create good levels of traffic from the number of people who are constantly searching the web for good content. If you use keyword techniques, you can even increase the chances that your articles will be at the top of the results page. However, who has the time to write many different articles and then submit them all for free to different sites? Well, at least in this ebook, you find ways to create 10 to 30 articles from one narrow topic that can help you guide people to pages on your site where they will eventually be marketed to buy a related product or service. The same techniques you learned to speed write these articles can be used to help you write multiple blog articles, guest posts, and even business profiles on the web. Finally, a well-written article can get mass media attention or end up becoming viral. When that happens, your hosting servers will probably melt from all that attention, and the number of people coming to your site and seeing your product offerings will skyrocket. Sale-oriented content. Now, if you think getting worldwide exposure and traffic to your site is great, think about the other ways speed writing can help you create online success as a marketer. You can use the same skills to create dynamite sales pages, multiple articles on your own site, complete with Google keywords that generate advertising revenue for you when clicked on by visitors. You can even sell your speed writing in the form of ebooks and special reports to the people who come to find out information from the expert they've previewed on different article directories. An info product is one of the easiest and most profitable things to sell online. You create one copy of it and then sell electronic copies one by one for as long as you want. So the initial cost to produce the copy is the first effort, and yet you can sell hundreds of copies of that one writing. The beauty of info products also resides in the fact that you can deliver your product over email or as a download after you've processed the payment electronically too. Almost every aspect of the product selling and delivery is automated. So that means a great potential for huge profits if one of your info products becomes immensely popular. Mix efficiency with marketing. The best way to take advantage of the information in this ebook is to learn how to combine other marketing techniques with your speed writing. For instance, online marketers know that the way to get traffic to the site is to rank high in search engines by paying attention to keywords that have a high search volume. Also, if they want to reap large rewards on the Google advertising on their sites, they will target high-paying keywords. So understanding this, you know that it isn't just about writing interesting and vibrant copy, but it's also about using keywords that can help get your copy ranked high in search engines or generate good advertising revenues. Internet marketers also have to be acutely aware of the hot trends being searched so that they can provide solutions within their inventory that are likely to draw attention and sell. So there is quite a bit of marketing research that needs to be done to create copy that draws the right crowd and makes money. In order to do that research, internet marketers might search their competition, check out high-performing blogs and see what topics are being discussed, infiltrate forums and groups for research, and keep careful watch on the demographics of their site. Once they know who's visiting their site, where they're coming from, what the biggest and best topics are, and what's likely to sell the best, they can create copy that really is targeted to provide just the solution for people who happen to be visiting. If you come in looking for widgets, that's the sales page you should land on. So researching the market goes hand in hand with research keyword topics. So when you do any of this for one area, combine it together to get a boost of power in either speed writing or internet marketing. Then, if you know that the aim is to get people to click on your offers or your advertising, you also can use the techniques in this book to create sales ads that help you reduce the resistance to clicking links and actually motivates people to do so. So you want to use the time-tested marketing strategies that will help you close any sale or get people to sign up for an email list. Things like offering a free report, newsletter, or gift. If someone takes the time to click and order your offer now is a very classic way to handle this. But that's not the only way. You can also use other marketing strategies in your repertoire to help boost the final outcome of either a click on your advertising or product links. Don't ever forget to ask for the sale and make that call to action. That applies in all of marketing. If you don't ask for the sale or make a call to action, most people won't be motivated enough to take the action on their own. So while many of these techniques can help speed up your writing, they should also be used with sound marketing techniques to get you the results you want for your website offers and promotions. Having said that, let's get started to learn how to churn out copy that will dazzle your readers and create an opportunity to increase traffic and sales. Should you outsource writing? Before we break into a bunch of advanced techniques on how you can do the writing yourself, we first need to decide if doing your own writing is the best option. Do you become incredibly stressed at the thought of writing a short email, much less a 500-word informative and entertaining article? Do you simply not have time to generate pages and pages of content? Fortunately, there is another alternative to writing articles yourself. You can pay a professional writer to do it for you. There are thousands of writing services and individual freelance writers who are more than willing to provide you with professional, customized content for your website. Web-based and SEO, search engine optimized writing, has become a profession unto itself, as more and more webmasters discover that original content is the key to internet marketing success. Paying for professional content can be the perfect solution for those who don't have the time or the interest to develop writing skills. Hiring a professional writer to generate your articles leaves you free to concentrate on your business and ensures that you will have quality content. As with any other business proposition, there are advantages and drawbacks to hiring a professional copywriter. In this chapter, we'll take a look at the pros and cons of paying for content and help you make an informed decision. The pros. Having your articles professionally written has its fair share of benefits. Here are some of the key advantages of having someone else do the writing for you. The pros know what they're doing. Unless you happen to have extensive experience working as a copywriter, then it's pretty safe to say that a professional writer will be able to create at least slightly better articles than you alone. They have the experience. They understand what internet users want to read and how they want the information presented to them. They are experienced at not only writing articles, but also at researching topics to find the best, most relevant information available. Keywords are also a subject that professional writers have extensive experience with. All you have to do is give them a list, and they'll plug your pertinent phrases into the article text seamlessly. They can generate those all-important must-read titles that will catch the attention of the readers and search engines alike. When you hire an article writer, you get clean, error-free articles that boost your credibility and make you the expert. Custom articles with your byline set you apart from the competition. It can save you a lot of time. You bought this ebook because you want to create a crapload of content fast, right? When you outsource your article writing to a professional, you save time. Often the time you save is worth far more than the fee you'll pay the writer. You may find that the speed writing techniques in this book aren't suited for you. It's a good idea to weigh the cost of custom articles against the time it would take you to write them yourself. You can get a high-quality 500-word custom article written for $10 to $25, and turnaround time for a single article for most professional writers is usually a few days. Compare that to the time it may take you to generate a good article, hours or even weeks of research and writing, depending on your own experience. Would your time be better spent developing your business? If the answer is yes, you should seriously consider outsourcing. Another time benefit to hiring a professional is the ability to order articles in bulk. Writing services will generally offer a discount if you order a number of articles, and you'll usually get them within a few weeks. Ordering bulk custom articles is a great way to jumpstart your visibility and gets the marketing ball rolling. You get the glory. Hiring a professional writer for custom content creation means usually you buy the rights to the work as well. This means you own the content. You don't have to list someone else's name in the author bio. You get to add your own bio and signature file and help to position yourself as an expert. Some people think that giving yourself credit for articles that you didn't really write is deceiving. This is far from the truth. You bought the rights to those articles, so they become solely yours. In fact, it is common practice in both business and publishing. However, some people are uncomfortable with this custom. If that's you, consider listing the writer as a co-author by John C. Business with I'm a Writer. This way the writer is credited, and you can still list your own bio at the end of the article. The cons? Ever heard the phrase, with the sweet comes the sour? That applies to just about anything, content creation included. Hiring professionals has its own detriments. Fortunately, most of them can be avoided with due diligence on your part. Keep yourself informed about buying articles, and you can ensure your investment will pay off. Be careful about additional charges. This is the one unavoidable drawback. You must pay for professional writing services, and if you're not paying for the content, you're not getting the rights to the work. This means you don't get credit. And all those visitors who read that brilliant article will be impressed enough to click the link to the author's website and may not come back to yours. Stiffing the writer you hired is a bad idea, though some people do manage to get free writing by asserting the final project is unacceptable or not what I envisioned. This practice will put you on writers' bad books. Word gets around in the writing community, and you may find that no one is willing to work with you. Plus, it's just plain mean. Writers need to earn a living too. Remember to weigh the money you'll spend against the time you'll save. Most of the time, you'll end up at an advantage in the end. Writers don't necessarily know your business. When you hire a professional writer or any freelancer, you have to deal with the fact that they really don't know your business or your products the same way that you do. Ultimately, you are the most qualified person to write about your topic. However, there are ways to ensure the articles you outsource are written to reflect your knowledge. Writers can adapt. The more information they have about a subject, the better the finished pieces they'll be able to produce. When you pay for professional content, consider providing the writer with a copy of your book, eBook, special reports, or product. This will help them write the best possible articles for you. Also, consider providing the writer or writing service with a rough template you would like them to follow. This way you can be sure that the ideas you want to promote are included in the final piece. Watch out for scams. Every industry has its scam artists, and writing is no different. There are a number of writing services there that promise fast, cheap content for your website. Unfortunately, the content these scammers offer is not original. It's often a series of template articles with keywords plugged in. You can avoid hiring scam artists by knowing what to look for in a writing service. Often, the price itself is a giveaway. Articles for just $1 a piece. With a price that low, it's most likely a scam. Few writers will work for so little. If they are, it usually means they're not working, just filling in a template. Another tip-off is turnaround time. If the writing service promises dozens of articles in 24 hours, it's unlikely they could generate that much original content in such a short time frame. To avoid scam artists, follow the advice you'll find in the next section of this book. Evaluating writers and their services. Paying for professional content is fast, but it's not necessarily cheap. Since you're going to be paying a fair amount for it, you should make sure that you get your money's worth. It's important to evaluate a writing service or individual freelance writer before you decide to enter a business relationship with them. In this section, you'll learn what to look for and what to avoid in a professional writer or writing service. Check out their website. Almost no one is going to be doing this kind of business without a nice website. For writing services and freelancers, this is more the rule than the exception. This holds particularly true for writers and services that specialize in web content. It would be almost hypocritical for them not to have a website. Looks are everything. Look for professionalism and good presentation when you're checking out a writing website. Do they seem reasonable, coherent, and well-informed? A professional writing services website should contain at least one valid contact method, physical address or phone number, outside of an email address, a general pricing range or schedule or an invitation to contact the writer or service for a free quote, easy-to-read error-free copy and clean page design, information about the writer or writer's experience, past or current clients, and or writing samples, a list of services provided and or areas of expertise, If the writer or writing service has taken the time to put together a website that demonstrates professionalism and knowledge, they are likely to put the same effort into the work you commission through them. Sloppy websites can indicate sloppy writing quality, something you want to avoid. Samples and examples. It's never a good idea to jump into something blindly, especially when you can't get a refund or that many revisions. Never hire any writer who doesn't provide samples of their work. Most will have samples posted on their websites. If they don't and you still want to consider working with them, email and ask for a sample. If the sample is riddled with spelling and grammatical errors and poorly constructed sentences, you should look for another writer. In most cases, writers who don't have posted samples are new to freelancing. However, they should still be able to demonstrate their abilities. Working with new writers is not necessarily something you should avoid, but it's important to make sure they can actually provide a finished, coherent piece. Less money isn't always better. You really do get what you pay for, and oftentimes a writer will charge a meager fee because he or she will do meager work for you. As with many other products or services, when it comes to commissioned writing, you get what you pay for. You should expect to pay the going rate for quality writing. This varies according to the type of writing provided, but for SEO articles and web content, it is fairly consistent. Usually the writer's fee is per word or a flat rate per article according to a word count range. 250 to 400 words, 500 to 700 words, and so on. There are two common reasons for writers offering their services for substantially less than every other writer in that field. Either the writer is new or inexperienced, or there's a scam afoot. In either case, investigate the writer or company, check out their samples, and use caution when paying dirt cheap fees for content. Be aware of plagiarism and copyright infringement. If you suspect a writer or writing service is using a template or recycling material they claim is original, there are a few ways to find out whether your suspicions are correct. Copy and paste 2 or 3 sentences from the sample text into a search engine such as Google or Yahoo. Chances are, if it's a scam, you'll come up with several links leading to the exact same article on different websites with different bylines. Look up websites that deal with the subject or the article in question and check out their article archives to see if they have the same title. Go to www.findarticles.com and search for the title or unusual phrases within the text of the sample article. Enter the URL of the page containing the suspicious writing sample at www.copyscape.com to view other pages that contain the exact same content. Free is not always good. You may be thinking, why pay for content when I can find plenty of free articles on my subject to use on my website? The answer, of course, is credibility. There are plenty of resources out there for free articles. However, they still have a price. You have to list someone else as the author and include a link to their website. This tells internet users that you aren't knowledgeable in regards to your business and have to rely on other people to explain things for you. When you post articles written by other people in your business area, many of your website visitors will conclude the writers of the articles are more informed and more trustworthy than you. They will visit these other websites and likely won't return to yours. When it comes to internet marketing, first impressions count. Posting free articles on your website will often make you lose business. Directory of writing services. Need help finding a reputable writing service? Here's a few professional, reasonably priced services to get you started. vWorker. www.vworker.com. This is a virtual job hiring website. You can find writers all over the world that are ready and willing to create your content for you. Elance. www.elance.com. This site functions as a job board for freelancers. When you're looking to have articles written, you can post your project details on Elance and receive bids from several writers. Plain and simple writing. The elegance of this system is in the simplicity. There are really only 4 steps, and the last one is to simply write out your articles after the groundwork has been laid. Although the step-by-step process is simple, we will give you detailed ways to add extra oomph to each step of the writing process to help you develop your speed writing skills. Obviously, most writing begins by brainstorming potential articles, and this system is no different. However, for internet marketers, it is this step that can decide how much subsequent attention your articles get. If you pick the wrong topic or the wrong keywords, the search engines might ignore your articles in favor of other sites that use these techniques to increase traffic. At the very least, you might find yourself on page 20 of the search results, while your competitors rank on the first 3 pages of the search results. Secondly, you want to have some idea of the types of structures that certain topics follow. Maybe you're doing a how-to article and want to write something in that genre. People who read how-to articles follow a certain structure. There are actually 7 different structural outlines that we'll discuss that can help you lay out your thoughts quickly and research only the material that is relevant to the article. So you will add your topic and choose from a relevant structure. Then you will need to do the research. Thirdly, after you have the topic, you still need to branch out to see how many articles or stories can be created from that single topic. You'll need to spend some time mind mapping, a way to organize your research and brainstorming your topic to figure out just how wide a topic it is and whether you should stick with it or try something that is more flexible and easier to write. There are tools we will go into that will help you to do this and still be able to write your articles without having to exit the software. That's it for the background preparation work. Then you can sit down and write not just one, but many articles from that little extra time you spent preparing your writing session. Not only that, but you will find that the articles that you turn out are of higher quality and have the potential to draw a larger audience because you started out with this in mind, as an internet marketer, and not just to write things haphazardly. Utilizing online tools for topics. There are various strategies to brainstorm new topics. Since this particular step is one that will lay the groundwork for all the others, we will go into it with fine detail in the next chapter. However, for now, be aware that you can find topics by researching the major search engine, Google, and finding what keywords are being searched heavily there. Google makes it easy to do by giving people free access to their keyword tool. This will be discussed more in Chapter 6. However, you do need to understand the reasoning behind using keywords and how best to use them before we get into that chapter. Key phrases are a set of keywords put together that are being used in advertising or being tracked by Google due to the search volume they generate. If they're being used in Google's AdWords campaign, then they have an associated cost per click established that the advertiser pays to use them in their campaigns. The higher the payout for certain key phrases, the higher the competition for web publishers to add them to their content in the hopes of making money through associated Google advertising. Another way that the key phrases are tracked is through the volume of searches, instead of the cost per click. So when you use the keyword tool, you can type in a topic and find out what other key phrases are out there being searched or competed for because of their monetary value. Either way, it's an excellent way to start generating ideas for topics. You will find that when you add a keyword to the tool, it will come up with other key phrases that can lead you to think of better ones as you go along. These spin-off phrases may lead to other ideas for topics that you might not have thought of if you hadn't used the tool. From this exercise, you can start to create titles that engage readers and search engines. And they will be directly related to garnering either more traffic for your site or more advertising revenue. An internet marketer's dream. Article Structuring 101. The second step involves identifying the structure and associating it with the title you've chosen in Step 1. This is a lot easier than it sounds, since we'll give you the exact outline for 7 different structures that are very common to internet marketing articles. The nice thing about being aware of different types of articles is that you can use one or all of them for the same topic, so that makes it easier to plan ahead and decide what you will write in much less time. The 7 types we will go over are, number 1, inspirational articles. These are articles that teach people, inspire them, are positive or engaging in a human interest sort of way. They are typically true-to-life stories, even if the identifying facts have been changed to protect people's reputations. Number 2, experimental articles. This article serves up an experiment of some sort that is undertaken to find the answer to some problem or mystery. This is a practical implementation piece for some aspect of the topic that readers love to read. They want to know what happens when you actually undertake the theories and put them into practice. Number 3, how-to articles. These articles give step-by-step directions to solve a very specific and often narrowly focused problem, like how to create curtains without sewing a stitch. Number 4, informative articles. These articles are similar to how-to articles in that they seek to explain a specific issue. They just don't walk the reader through the steps to resolve it specifically. Instead, they might focus on more general terms while providing facts to support that issue being discussed and why it is of relevance. Number 5, reviews. A review is an honest opinion of some product or service that is written to benefit the reader, not the seller of that product or service. It should explain to the readers why the product is important, what it does, and the way it compares to other products on the market. Number 6, people profiles. People love to read about other people, but they don't necessarily want to hear everything. The profiles you write should include interesting information to engage the reader, but lack a full-fledged interview feel. So the profile is more like a brief synopsis of a personal interview, showing only the major highlights. Number 7, resource articles. This category includes people, places, or things that people want to investigate themselves but don't have the time. They are very popular with travel sites that want the top 10 restaurants, things to do, or even performances to see in a particular city or travel venue. Now that you are familiar with each of the 7 types, you can start to brainstorm different articles for each topic based on these types. We'll discuss a little more about how to use these types with the word list to generate oodles of articles from just one topic in Chapter 5. For now, we'll briefly introduce using the technique called mind mapping and the titles and structures you've identified to start to get a good idea of a layout for any number of articles you may want to write quickly. Creative mind mapping methods. If you've never mind mapped, you're in for a treat. A mind map is a way to visually map your thinking process to help spur nonlinear thinking and engage both the left and the right brain in your planning. A mind map starts with a central word or text placed in the center, where it is allowed to branch off in multiple directions as the thoughts come to you. It is basically a diagram of ideas or words linked to the center word or concept. It radiates out in a nonlinear fashion and can help you to identify different relationships that may not be so obvious in a linear map. Now, you can mind map with a pen and paper. All you would do is start with your keyword or phrase in the middle of the paper and start to brainstorm different ideas, tasks, and concepts associated with your central word. The problem is that a piece of paper is somewhat limited for mind mapping. You only have an 8.5 by 11 surface to work with, and if you think of a website that is related to your keyword for search, well, you can write the link, but it's not interactive with the web. Then when you're done, you still have to write the article somewhere else and use the paper as a different tool. That's why we recommend getting a mind mapping program. There are several good programs you can get, and they will allow you to add electronic media like PDF files, website links, and even images to your mind maps. A good mind mapping program should let you do the following during the planning stages. Use one mind map for even 100 pages. Say you want to write an eBook. You want to get a program that will let you brainstorm as much as you need to get all your ideas in and be able to see all the interrelationships. If it is limited to an 8.5 by 11 size, then it's really no better than a sheet of paper. That's why even though you could use a program like Microsoft Word to set up mind map diagrams, they aren't as effective as full mind mapping programs, which will let you cover 3 pages in one mind map if you desire. Branches with detailed note-taking. When you identify a branch-off idea, you may want to add significant notes about the idea before you move on. This is really important for writers who are using mind mapping software to create articles within the program, too. Ability to add electronic media as branches and notes. We mentioned adding a website link and PDF file as potential research tools within the mind map or to add to your article. You should be able to do this and more. Add a spreadsheet, maps, images, and more. Export functionality to word processor. For writers using mind mapping to create articles, you want to be able to export the mind map to your word processor so that the articles are written as you brainstorm. This cuts out a large amount of time transferring your ideas to written articles that you can use and speeds up the entire writing process. There are various programs being sold on the market for mind mapping. Some are less expensive than others. We will discuss more about the tools you can get to do mind mapping in Chapter 4. But probably the software of choice is MindJet's Mind Manager. It does everything in the above list and is easy to learn and to use. This product runs about $349 for the full version. It comes with a free 30-day trial if you're not sure whether you want to invest that much yet without trying it out first. There's also a light version that sells for much less. Another program that does a good job is called Inspiration. Check out the resources section to find out where to find these products online. Write. So those are the basics of the system, and it really is as easy as 1, 2, 3. Now that we've given you a good outline of what you need to have and do to start getting organized, we'll start addressing some of these topics in better detail. Keep in mind that writing is a technical art, and to speed it up, all you need to do is become better organized. However, when it comes to actually writing the pieces, it's best that you let your own heart come out to give your writing character. If you follow these steps and keep writing, eventually you can command up to $50 an article from people wanting reviews, reports, and more. Finding cash cow topics. As we mentioned earlier, the Google Keyword Tool is one way to help you identify topics through researching interesting keywords. In this chapter, we'll talk you through how to use the Keyword Tool to get the best results. It's not just a matter of sitting there thinking up words, but actually using the tool to think them up for you. However, that's not the only way to really ramp up your potential topic appeal. The number one way to make your topics appealing to a wide audience is to have a knockout title. Yes, that's right. The first step of identifying topics starts with titles, and the search engines weigh these heavily in their search engine algorithms. So while you can use the keyword tool to help you locate words to use in your title to give your article some search engine optimization, or SEO, the real way to make them profitable is to make them grab the reader as well as the search engine. Finally, even having a good idea of what topic you want to address, you still might have to think up multiple articles for the same topic. That's where a tool called Rack and Write Mixer can help you generate titles from various disjointed phrases and power words that you might have thought up. This way, it takes a little less time to brainstorm potential topics, and they are targeting all of the elements of good internet marketing also. In depth, Google keywords. We've talked a little about the keyword tool already, but now we will go into the details of how to use this tool to start generating titles that make your topics profitable and optimized for maximum exposure. Make audience-oriented adjustments. One of the first things you should do is to set up the tool for whatever country and language your major audience happens to be. You can find out what your biggest audience is regionally by checking the administrative panel of your website for the makeup of countries visiting your site. This is important, even for all English language sites, because even English is spoken differently around the world. People in the UK will visit a site and see different spellings, and instead of realizing that you're an American company, they might think you're just not a very good speller, and thus unprofessional. So try to suit the tool to the language you want to highlight the most. At the very top of the tool, you'll see a sentence that says, "Results are tailored to English, United States." There's a link next to that simply says Edit. Choose the link and change the main language and country if necessary. Be descriptive. The tool can search 3 different ways, based on a keyword or phrase, based on a URL, or based on some content. For this section, we'll concentrate on choosing to search by descriptive words or phrases by making sure that radio button is selected. Next, you want to enter the word or phrase that you've brainstormed to start the process of finding other ideas or words that might work for you. You will need to type in the letters in the CAPTCHA facility that keeps spammers off the site, but it doesn't do anything to your search results. After you get the results back, you can search through the list and look at the competition for the keyword or phrase, the approximate search volume for the month, and the average search volume. In general, what you want to find is a word that has a low level of competition with a high search volume. Of course, that's nearly impossible to find these days, as advertisers are very savvy, but you can at least get a good idea of which ones are worth trying to use. If you use something with a high advertiser's competition value and a high search volume, the odds of being in the top search results are practically non-existent because major players are hogging the traffic on those. There are other search metrics that you can add to your list after it's generated. You have to use the drop-down box that says Choose Columns to Display to add other columns. One other column that is great to see in the results is the estimated average CPC, which gives you an idea of the payout associated with the keyword or phrase in the Google AdWords system. Using low competition words with high CPC values is one way to generate more Google AdWords dollars on your own sites, as SEO articles will queue the Google server to serve up ads related to what's on your page. If it sees high-paying words, the ads served that people can have the opportunity to click are often also high-paying ads. If you find some additional keywords in the results that lead you to new keywords, don't be afraid to pull them out of the list and run them alone in the keyword tool to see what comes up. You will find that this helps you to brainstorm different ways to find words for your topic title that are going to bring in traffic and money to your sites. Analyze other websites. Another way to use the keyword tool to analyze the keywords being used on another web page. This is a great way to generate keywords off competitors' sites without too much effort. If you know of sites similar to your own that are already doing a great job attracting traffic, then you should use this tool to find out what keywords they're using. The way you do that is to switch the radio button from descriptive words or phrases to website content. It will then return a results list that will be sorted in groups by whatever the major keyword or phrase used happens to be. This is a very easy way to get a list of usable keywords, but do realize that keywords campaign change frequently as new trends are identified. Utilize pre-existing articles. Maybe you've written articles already, but they're not generating much attention. You can still use the tool to help you optimize the articles and change the titles. All you do is choose the Website Content radio button and use the link under the box for the URL to add your text into a box instead. Then the tool will go through the topic and suggest keywords to use in it. All you have to do is change some words here and there and add a different title to get these stale articles to become stars in your writing lineup. All you have to do is change some words here and there and add a different title to get these stale articles to become stars in your writing lineup. Just remember that you can't put duplicate content on your website or Google will penalize you. It doesn't understand that you wrote the same articles, only that they appear plagiarized because more than one copy shows up. So be sure to make the new articles sufficiently different so that you aren't penalized by Google, or remove the old copies and replace them with the new ones. Creating knockout titles. Now that you understand the importance of researching keywords and how to do it, we'll begin to get started creating knockout titles. The first rule of thumb is that the first 3 to 5 words in the title carry the most weight with the search engines. They will determine the success of your article for the most part. So it's important that they contain some of the keywords and also some power words to the interest of people who are surfing the web. After all, if you just wrote for search engines, let's be honest, no one would want to read your articles. You need something in there to make the titles interesting to readers, too. As with most marketing, the way to sell something is to invoke an emotional response first, followed by a justification for buying into a particular product. The same is true when you're writing to attract attention. You want to create titles that have an emotional draw to them, but also don't forgo the logical reason why someone should take the time to read your writing. And of course, you have to include the keywords too. It sounds like a lot of work, but it's not. All you really need is a good thesaurus. You will take the same old titles you think up and kick them up a notch by finding powerful words that have an emotional effect on your reader. For instance, check out any marketing book and you will see that some words have a higher emotional value than others and sell your products better. These words are things like super, improved, gold, platinum, etc. Well, you can use a thesaurus to kickstart the brainstorming process to get words in your title that have a more direct emotional appeal. And try to find action verbs that really engage the reader's senses and makes your title come alive. If you have the money, you should invest in a very good program called Visual Thesaurus. It not only gives you alternative words for your titles, but also lets you drill down those alternatives to find even more words that might work for you. Eventually, you'll start to develop a list of power words that you can use over and over again with great results. Speed titling your articles. Okay, so now you have a bunch of keywords or phrases and some idea of alternative words with some emotional punch to them. You know how to set up a title with these to make them draw people in, but you need to do this with not 1 or 10, but maybe 30 or 50 articles. How do you create multiple article titles and topics so quickly? Here we come to yet another tool, the Rack and Write Mixer tool. This tool will take 3 boxes and let you add some keywords, power words, and even the audiences targeted to generate plenty of possibilities for article titles. This tool is located at http://www.rackandwrite.com/mixer.html. There are 3 fields in the tool, A, B, and C. In field A, you can list several different audiences that you think will be interested in your topic. Now, be specific. Maybe it's new moms, pregnant teenagers, or busy executives. Add as many as 20 different audiences in that first field. In field B, you will put in some of the keywords or phrases that you researched using the Google Keyword tool. List up to 20 of these in field B. Finally, in field C, you'll want to use your power words. You can make them power verbs, nouns, or something else. It doesn't matter, just something to bring in the reader's interest. Then you'll hit the Create Topics button and sit back and wait for the results. This will be a list of article titles very quickly, and then you can just choose the ones that work best for your website or client. You can print these out and generate more article titles on the fly by replacing a few words here and there with keywords or power words that you've researched earlier. You'll get great titles that are profitable in no time flat. The Rack and Writer website has a number of different tools to help facilitate speed writing. To get even thousands of potential article topics, you can also use their main Rack and Write tool located at www.rackandwrite.com. It has a few more fields you need to fill in, but it can generate up to thousands of great titles with as few as 9 to 11 well-chosen keywords. Tools of the trade. As you're probably starting to notice, using different tools can really impact your productivity. Speed writing isn't just about how fast you can type. It's also about the many technical aids that are available now due to the power of modern electronics. Yes, many of them cost money to get, but they also end up being a great investment that can pay you back by freeing up additional time. And some will even help maintain your sanity and health, too, as you start to mass-produce articles for the internet. So without delay, let's get started discussing the great products out there that can boost your productivity into the stratosphere. Dragon, naturally speaking. Once you start to type article after article, maybe an ebook in between, you might start feeling the beginning symptoms of carpal tunnel syndrome. This is a very serious disorder that affects the tendons in your hands and can cause a great deal of pain. It can keep you off the keyboard for long periods of time, too. So getting a program that saves your wrists while it increases your writing speed is really a great investment for you as a content developer. This program, Dragon Naturally Speaking 11, is a godsend for internet marketers who may have a good idea of what they want to say, but have very poor typing skills. It allows them to speak and have the program type the spoken words into a word processor for you. It may take a while to get used to, but the newer version has about a 99% accuracy rate. You will need to proofread your work before you send it, but generally that makes it even easier to do. If you type something, you will notice that reading it over for grammatical errors is harder for the writer, and that's why people generally hand off their work to others to proofread. But if you speak the words, your eyes will see the words as new and won't be as likely to filter out the mistakes when you proofread. If you can't imagine how much this program can speed up your writing, think about this. Nuance.com, the makers of Dragon Naturally Speaking 11, estimate that people typically type less than 40 words per minute, but you can speak up to 120 words per minute. That's 3 times faster. So if you get into the hang of using this program, you will have the potential to be 3 times faster than normal. Now, that isn't the only benefit you get with Dragon Naturally Speaking 11. You can also search the web much quicker by using web commands to do your surfing. In fact, you can even create word commands that allow you to insert blocks of texts or images into your documents. This is particularly effective for inserting signatures. The program isn't just used with Microsoft Word. You can also use it with Outlook, Excel, Corel, and WordPerfect. There's even an option to use a handheld device when you're not near a PC to later use with Dragon Naturally Speaking to insert into your documents. It is also compatible with Nuance-approved Bluetooth headsets. The program is pricey at $199 plus shipping and handling fees, but it is a software program that is guaranteed to save your wrists and speed up your writing with dramatic effects. Please see the resource section to find a link to this product, which is available at nuance.com. Here's another great program that isn't nearly so expensive. The Visual Thesaurus, available at www.visualthesaurus.com, generates a blossom of related word branches from a single word that you put into it. As you see them visually, you can also drill down by clicking on any word in that layout. This is great for brainstorming word lists. It is based on a monthly or yearly subscription of $2.95 per month or $19.95 per year. This little online tool can help you generate your power words much more quickly. This will help you build customized word lists on any topic that you can imagine or think up. What's even nicer is that this tool is based on a community concept. If you want to look up other people's word lists, you can. That can save you enormous amounts of time creating power word lists. It comes with over 145,000 English words with 115,000 associated meanings. You can even use the tool with several different languages: Spanish, German, Italian, Dutch, and French. We talked briefly about this tool in Chapter 2. It is used in our system to create brainstorming sessions that not only increase the speed with which you do Steps 2 and 3, structure and research. This program retails for $3.49, but it's well worth it. You can not only map your ideas, but you can also write your articles within the mind mapping program. You can go across more than one page and see everything at once. It's a great way to create outlines that include all your relevant research notes too, as each of the branches allows you to insert notes. You can include links to websites, URLs, insert images, spreadsheets, and other types of research information that can be helpful when writing the articles. After you're done, you can export it to Word and finalize your copy there. Inspiration. This is another mind mapping program, but it costs much less, $69. You can do about the same things you would do in Mind Manager, except for generating a table of contents. These programs are great for representing your brainstorming ideas visually, and Inspiration comes with a symbols library. Inspiration comes with 65 different templates that can help you jumpstart your projects. Another 60 templates are available from other sites. So if you're not sure how to get started doing a mind map, you can open one of the templates and let it guide you through a sample one. It will give you an idea of how to organize your ideas and thinking. A good mind map will help you to visualize the interrelationship of various aspects of your research and ideas. It will help you to organize your thoughts and even use it to create articles that have a sound structure. Then you can export it to Microsoft Word to finalize the articles there. Rack and Write. This tool, also mentioned in Chapter 2, is great for generating multiple titles or topics from a few keywords. It is available at www.rackandwrite.com. That's R-A-C-K and write.com. The Rack and Write tool asks for a total of 9 to 11 keywords. They are as follows. Adjective, a power word, descriptive word. Person 1, a person that the article is geared towards. Person 2, a person that the article can be geared towards. The action describes what person 1 might do. Verb. The action 2, another verb, this one with an ing ending. Thing, this is a noun that relates to person 1. Thing 2, another noun. Place, a place that might be involved in the topic. Place 2, another place that might be involved in the topic. Industry, the type of business this refers to. Problem, a brief problem statement, 3 to 4 words. After you add the words you want, Rack and Write will generate some example titles. Not all of them will make sense, but it's a great way to develop titles easily and quickly. Browsers. Your internet browser may not seem like a big deal, but if you use the web a lot for resources or even for writing, then you should definitely take this into deep consideration. The browser you use can substantially affect your productivity and efficiency while completing web-oriented tasks like emailing, researching, and brainstorming. Most people use Internet Explorer because it comes with Windows-based computers. Windows Explorer has a lot of improvements since version 6, but even with the massive improvements now in version 8, and soon 9, it doesn't hold a candle to some of the more efficient and extensive browsers out there. Firefox. Firefox is the most popular web browser besides Internet Explorer. It's extremely powerful and fast, which is exactly what you'll be wanting for creating a crapload of content fast. Firefox is well known for having a myriad of security features and an extensive collection of add-ons that significantly improve the functionality and efficiency of the browser. Many of these are business-centric and will help you do things faster and easier. You can get a free copy of Firefox at mozilla.com. Google Chrome. Chrome is a relatively new browser made by Google. The browser is quite popular for its speed and efficiency. You may have seen TV commercials where they compare the speed of Chrome to things like lightning strikes or gravity. Chrome is a bit simplified and has fewer extensions and security features than Firefox, but it's still a great fast alternative to Internet Explorer. You can get a free copy of Chrome at google.com/Chrome. OpenOffice. This product is very much like Microsoft Office, except it is open source and thus available for free to download. It takes much less space in memory, but it doesn't have all the nice features of Microsoft Office. However, if you just need a good word processor that can convert to Word when done, this is the ticket for you. Updates are free, unlike updates for Office, and that saves you quite a bit of money in the long run. You can get a free copy of OpenOffice at openoffice.org. The power of Google. Now we come to the part of writing which can be endless unless you have a strategy. While part of the charm of the internet is having a vast library of information available at your fingertips, the downside is that you can go into information overload. How do you know where to start? How do you know which article or website is relevant? How do you organize all that information so that when you start to write, you can easily look things up? How do you get exactly what you want from Google without wasting time with search results that just waste your time? It's not as simple as just typing a few words into the Google search box. To be a really good researcher, and thus write awesome articles, you need to know how to quickly find information, how to store it carefully for later use, and most importantly, knowing when to stop researching and start writing. Here in this chapter, we'll review some strategies for searching on Google and also the overall plan for your research time. Planning your research out. Before we get into the nitty-gritty details of finding the articles on Google that are most relevant, let's discuss what you're going to do with them when you find them. Some people just decide to capture as many URLs as they can for a particular topic, but that isn't the best strategy. For one, without any kind of idea as to what each URL includes, you can't organize your thoughts well enough. You'll open one URL after another trying to find the one that you remember that had a specific topic, or you won't even remember the information in each URL, and you'll find your topic outline and research to be watered down or of poor quality. The moral here is that you can't rely on your memory or just a cursory system of URL links to be able to generate great topics and decent outlines. You need to have a better view of the research that you did and how to eventually organize it in a way that reduces the amount of time you spend searching or rereading article after article trying to locate that one you remember. While a list of links is a good memory aid, it's not really a system for organizing research. You want something that you can open, and by briefly reviewing your organized research, you can have the facts and information you need almost instantly. That means that you aren't just going to need the URL, you will need to do more than that, although the URL is a great start. Maintain file continuity. The best way to organize your research is to put it all in one file. Later, if you ever get another assignment for the same topic, you can always open that one file and use some of your old work or add new items to it. And yet, it's always in one place, filed in one document available and easy to find based on the name of your topic. For this exercise, a Word document is one that works very well. You need something that you can cut and paste entire internet articles into without reaching a space limit or having a problem with formatting. So don't use Notepad. Try to use a fully featured word processing program like Microsoft Word. If you don't want to go through the trouble of using a paid program, you can use OpenOffice to create your files also. The first thing you want to do before you start a research session is to open up your word processing document and add a descriptive phrase of exactly what you're looking to research. This will help you later when you're pulling up files to see if they include information you can use in other articles. It also precisely funnels your energy into the right direction and gets you ready to look for a specific area of research. So pay attention to how you phrase your descriptive title or phrase. It sets the mood for your research session. Let's begin. Now, you will begin by using the words list you generated in the previous chapters to help you locate relevant articles in Google. We will go into more detail about this at the end of this chapter. But for now, in the overall view, you want to be able to decide whether the URL you open in the research results is going to aid you in writing an article or not for later on. For that, you need to keep in mind whether it matches your needs, as stated in the descriptive phrase at the top of your document. If the information is too general, not for your particular audience, or too detailed for your descriptive phrase, then this can be a reason not to include it in your stored research. In that case, you'll need to either drill down more into Google or put different words or phrases in the Google search engine. The exact strategy for this will be detailed at the end of this chapter. However, if the information does match your needs, then you'll want to store a few bits of information for later use. Include matches in your research document. You've finally found something relevant. Well, now you have to include it in your research document by cutting and pasting the entire article into the document. That's why you need something more than Notepad. You'll want to include the URL at the top so that if you ever need to locate the document again online, you can. And for the last step, to organize this research article to make it more effective, you'll want to highlight all the parts of the article that you found most helpful in your research. The reason for that is that later, when you're writing, you don't have to reread the entire article. You can just skim the highlighted sections and find what you want much more quickly. Get the most from Google. Google has various features that make it ideal for researching. On the main screen, you can see 3 of these features: Advanced Search, Preferences, and Language Tools. The most important of these is the Advanced Search feature, but we'll discuss all 3. Advanced Search. The Advanced Search allows you to refine the criteria that the search engine uses to return a set of results. Instead of just putting in a key phrase or keywords from your word list, you have the option to see a visual guide that serves the same function, as some of the operators will discuss later. For instance, you can exclude certain words in your search. You can have one or another set of words included in your search results. You can even tell Google which format file to include in your search results. You can also use Google to search a particular domain or website on the internet and ignore all others. This can be great if you want to only look for videos on YouTube, or even just pull up articles from domains with a .edu extension. One of the nicest things you can do with the Advanced Search feature is that you can tell Google to add more results per page. So if the standard 10 results slows down your research, you can pull up to 20 or even 50. It will take longer to load, but you'll spend less time hitting the next page option also. It will give you a quick view as to whether the keyword or phrase you're using is worth continuing with, or to move on quickly to another. Preferences. There's also a place in Preferences to set the number of results per page, and there's also a way to have the results open in a different browser window. If you use Internet Explorer, this will load a whole new copy and then open the window, slowing things down. If you use Firefox, it will open the new page in a different tab, making your search that much more convenient if it doesn't apply. You don't have multiple copies of the browser loaded, and you can easily view the results and the articles from different tabbed pages. In this area, you can tell Google that you're only interested in articles written in English or any other language in the search language area. This is also the place where you will find out how to block results with explicit sexual content, since many of those sites also contain viruses and tracking cookies that can bog up your research by infecting your computer with hidden programming that hogs up your memory and slows your machine to a crawl. So you can have it use strict filtering if you know that's not the topic you're researching. Language tools. This area isn't as important as the other 2 areas, but you should know something about it. It does offer you a language translator in case you get back an article into a different language that you want to read. It's typically easier to avoid non-native speaking articles to keep your research moving quickly, though, unless there's some reason why a foreign article is appropriate to your topic. Using regular expressions, operators. Just like math has operators for plus, minus, and so on to facilitate operations when you combine numbers, Google has word and sign operators to facilitate combining keywords or phrases in their search box. We discussed the AND operator prior, but there are a great many more that can help you find what you're looking for in a laser-like fashion, helping to speed up the entire writing process. Let's go over a few symbolic operators for you to get to know and work with. The plus sign. In Google, the plus sign tells the search engine that the word is necessary for the search. This is important because Google ignores certain words to speed up search results. Words like a, the, an, at, for, and more. So if you're searching for a book title, for instance, and want to see articles about the search for truth, then you will either have to put a plus sign next to those stop words, or you'll have to put the entire phrase in quotes to signify that you want an exact match for the entire phrase. So you could type into the search box, plus the search plus for truth, or quote the search for truth, unquote, and get what you want. However, if you just type in the search for truth, your results will ignore the word the and for in the majority of results. The minus sign. The minus one works in the opposite way to the plus sign. Instead of forcibly including the word next to the sign, the minus sign forcibly excludes any articles with that word from showing up. It's a great way to narrow down the topic search results so that it becomes very highly defined. It works for things where marketers also may be hogging the first few pages with extraneous results that are meaningless to your query. For instance, say you're looking for cell phones, but don't want to include Nokias. Your query would be, quote, cell phones, quote, minus Nokia. The tilde sign is that squiggly mark often placed over a Spanish N, as in señor. The tilde sign will include all the synonyms of the word that it's placed next to. For instance, if you wanted to find articles with different nuances for the word fast, you would add the tilde sign next to it, and it would add articles that might reference quick, rushed, speedy, and so on. In that case, your query for fast games would look like this. Tilde sign, fast games. There are other types of operators, as we discussed earlier, that come in text format instead of symbol format. These we'll discuss here. Cite. This operator is used to tell Google that you're searching within a specific site only. So if you want only articles about acne from a specific acne site, you can use the following query. Acne site, www.youracnesite.com. All in text. Google will try to return results for a set of keywords, but if it finds some and not others, it will still return the page if that's the best that it can do. In order to tell it that you want only those articles with all those keywords in it, then you use the all-in text operator. So, for example, say you want to include articles with TVs that are cheap and only from Sony. Then your query would be all-in text, quote, TVs, quote, tilde sign, cheap, Sony. It's also good for keeping out search results that aren't text-based articles. So now you're starting to get a view of how to combine the different operators to really get the exact search results you need. In the above example, you use 3 different ways of redefining the search query. You use the all-in text and the tilde sign and the quotes. If you hadn't put cell phones within quotes, you might have gotten something to do with cell phone batteries or cell towers. If you didn't add the tilde sign next to the word cheap, you wouldn't necessarily pick up all the different synonyms of cheap, and yet you asked the query to return only those articles with these keywords. So if the tilde sign weren't there, and instead the article talked about inexpensive cell phones from Nokia, the query would have ignored it. With the tilde sign, it will pick it up as being all in text too. All in title. This is similar to all in text, except the focus is on the title of the page, not the text of the page. So if you want only web pages with some of your phrase or keywords within the title to be returned, you would use this operator. For instance, if you were looking for articles on exotic birds and want that as part of the title, your query would look like this. All in title, quote, exotic birds, quote, or all in title, quote, exotic birds. The first would mean the words in the title would have to show up together, and the next one means that they can be anywhere in the title. All in URL. This is also similar to the last two, except the focus is to find every website URL with the specific search items you specify. It would work exactly as the above example, except using all in URL instead of all in title. There are many more operators that one can learn and use when doing Google researching. These are just a few of them, and this ebook doesn't have sufficient space to include them all. However, the intent is the same, to refine the search results so that you spend less time weeding through page after page of Google search results that aren't relevant to your search. For that, we have one final word of advice to weed out the wheat from the chaff, and that's the website called Give Me Back My Google. This type of service is necessary as the internet grows and more marketers flood the library with what essentially comes out to be spam. Fortunately, if you go to www.givemebackmygoogle.com, you can use that service to help eliminate many marketing sites that flood the search engine with results that are worthless to writing articles. Sites like PriceRunner, NextTag, or other price comparison sites. Creative word list usage. Word lists are invaluable tools for brainstorming related ideas and also for facilitating searching through Google later on. Another type of word list is a frequency word list, which is a word list with the words that appear the most in an article listed by order of frequency in a certain topic. The way to use word lists is to keep some great words, either keywords or good research terms that can be put aside in list format to help keep the important details of a topic in the forefront of your memory. Another way to use the words in your list to help you research the topic more, and thus add even more to your word list to modify it to suit a more thorough representation of the topic. If you get a project that you have no idea how to start, a word list can be a great way to get you going. The reason for this is that you can simply find articles already written on a topic online, and then use some online tools to check the word frequency within it. Odds are the more frequent words are keywords or power words being used by the other marketer to generate traffic or income. So in a way, you can get other internet marketers to build your word list for you. If you already know something about the topic, then you can sit down for a brainstorming session. Here, you would want to start thinking about the different words that can be used within your topic. After that, you want to start combining words in different arrangements to see how they stir your creativity. After some research on other sites, you may come up with a great word list to actively Google and find relevant research being done already by other online marketers and use it to generate topics. Basic word lists. This may sound very complicated, but it's not. Word lists are intuitively simple, so let's start with a simple example. Let's say you've been given an assignment to write about gardening. The first way to start generating topics is to free associated and brainstorming different words associated with gardening. So a simple word list would look like this: gardening, plants, perennials, gardening equipment, drought-resistant plants, rain barrels, seeds, etc. Anyways, you get the idea. From this simple brainstorming session, you may end up getting some great ideas for topics or for the outline to an ebook from a few minutes of using a word list creatively. But we're not done. We're going to use a more complex word list to eventually target research and articles already written on the internet in a very precise way. Before we create the complex word list, let's think about the case where you are faced with a blank sheet of paper and a topic that has you mystified. Creating word lists from nothing. Don't panic. Even if you just got a subject that frightens you, we will show you a ridiculously easy way to get past the initial terror that seizes you with an unfamiliar topic. All you have to do is be able to cut and paste. Basically, to have the skills to generate words that go with this topic. That's because you're going to let other people build the list for you. All you're going to do is plug in the original topic term into the Google search engine and find relevant articles. After you've got a list of URLs with relevant topics, you can start to use them to generate a frequency word list. A frequency word list is like a simple word list, except that it tells you how many times a word is used in a piece of text or article. This is really valuable information if you're trying to generate a word list for research purposes, or to find out what keywords internet marketers are targeting on their websites. The higher the frequency of a word, the more important it is to search engines and to the marketer. So you can bet that some of these words that pop up the most are actually Google keywords too, at times. If you are in Firefox, you can facilitate the next process by using the tabs feature. You would open up a URL in a tab for a relevant article. And then in the other tab, you'll open up the Build Your Word List program at buildyourwordlist.com. You can even use keyword searching tools that are available online to build a frequency word list instead of this tool. There are many different types of frequency word searchers online. They work about the same. Then you would simply cut and paste the article text into the Build Your Word List tool and see which words are used the most. These can help you start to build word lists without even knowing one thing about the subject. You just use what other people are using to get a starting point in your research. You will find that in a lot of ways this process is even easier than brainstorming. Some of the tools, besides the Build Your Own List tool, will even give you the frequency of phrases. That way it can help you to brainstorm combination of words that are powerful, either because Google likes them or because the marketer has decided they attract attention. And just because you did a little brainstorming to start finding articles doesn't mean you can't use this step too to refine your word list even further. Advanced word listing techniques. So we might come up with a more complex word list through the frequency word list generation strategy, or we can start combining words on our own in the brainstorming session, or both. Let's say that we're going to take the original simple word list as follows: gardening, plants, perennials, gardening equipment, drought-resistant plants, rain barrels, seeds, etc. And we're going to start creating a complex list for research purposes and to effectively target highly relevant articles on Google. The term gardening is great, but too broad. It will come up with all kinds of things, so we can't really use it effectively in Google and really get anything too specific. So maybe we combine it with other terms in our list. So maybe instead we choose to combine the term gardening with other words on the list to put in the Google search box. Maybe we start to brainstorm a more precise list that might look like this: gardening, drought-resistant plants, in quotations, gardening, quote, heirloom plants, unquote, burpee seeds, burpee and, quote, gardening equipment, unquote, bulbs and, quote, soil preparation, quote. As you can see, now the list has become much more specific and highly targeted. In addition, we're using some Google searching techniques to refine the search results we obtain from our word list. In case of putting words in quotes, we are telling Google that the term must appear exactly as we have it in the quotes. It's a way of saying, return only the articles with these exact phrases. However, gardening is not in quotes, so it's a very general search term that just says we're interested in gardening articles, but also for drought-resistant plants. That means we won't get specific articles describing the way drought-resistant plants function, but specifically how to garden with drought-resistant plants. Maybe we're also interested in particular companies that create gardening equipment or sell seeds. Then you can just add their proper name in the search box. Finally, when you use the search function AND, that tells Google that you want both terms on either side of the AND function to appear on the same page. Obviously, it's not an exact science, but you will get the hang of the different operators available to use for searching in Google the more you practice. We will even discuss this further in the next chapter. For now, this is a good way to start your word list while keeping in mind that the ultimate aim is to get a list that helps you create topics or research them more efficiently. Word list research. After you have a great word list put together, always keep it handy as you're doing your research. You can use it to jog your memory, too. You can even use them to do some mind mapping, and within the thesaurus to generate power words. The word lists are very versatile and are key to establishing a firm framework for your entire project. At the very least, they will help you build an outline for the projects that are informative and also attention-grabbing, both from a readership and search engine standpoint. If you get stuck trying to find articles through the search engines or locate words for your word list this way, there are some particular areas that are great for researching topics and the associated words. Here are a few sites that you can visit to research topics and use the articles to cut and paste into the frequency word list generator. HiBeam. You have to pay to use this site, but the quality of articles is very good. It is a research site with over 60 million articles online. The source of the articles tend to be magazines, newspapers, and trade journals. It's located at www.hibeam.com. Wikipedia. This is a site that creates content like an encyclopedia. However, the content is contributed by many people all over the internet. For that reason, it can sometimes lack credibility and needs to be substantiated with other more reputable sites. However, for generating word lists, it can be a great source of inspiration, and it's free. In addition, they have a link section in each of their articles that can eventually get you to more reputable articles that you can use within your research. It is located at www.wikipedia.com. QueryCat. That's Query, cat. This is a large database of frequently asked questions gathered from all over the web. You do have to search with specific key phrases, so it's not as versatile as some of the other sites. It's located at www.querycat.com. And again, query is with an E and only one R. As you're looking for articles to use in the frequency-generated list, be aware that keyword-optimized articles may or may not be a good choice. If they're older articles, this will not be relevant for you because the search terms that are popular change from month to month. However, a very recent article with great targeted keywords can be a gold mine for internet marketers and saves time in doing your own research. So, although it's not great for generating really broad and interesting word lists, it can be a way for internet marketers to locate some terms that make sense to include in their articles to attract attention from search engines. Don't focus solely on keyword articles, though, as the best way to generate a word list for research is to give it a much wider scope. Ultimate writing advice. Okay, we've gone over how to prepare to write, having a plan, finding great topics, using tools to enhance your productivity, and tips for researching. So now we're ready to start writing. This chapter is about learning how to increase your writing skills so that your articles are not only written quickly, but they are of top-notch quality. If you search the web, you'll find many articles written by marketers that have keywords and may even be somewhat comprehensive. But they read like a machine put them together, and not a human being. While this may be great for search engine results, in the final analysis, it is people who will be reading your articles and who will decide whether to come back to your site or not based on your content. And as all good internet marketers know, it is far easier to sell to existing and loyal customers than it is to generate a new customer. In the same way, if you know how to retain your existing readership with quality content, you won't constantly have to mine the internet for new people to visit your site. And you will begin to build a personal relationship with these people. That is the beginning stages of building your contact list so that you can start to market your products to them too. Even though we know what makes a good topic now and how to brainstorm to make the multiple interesting titles, we still have to know how to put all our information together so that the articles grab the reader's attention and literally pulls them into your content and by default your website. In the next few pages, that mystery will be revealed in a simple and easy to follow path that helps you whip out articles that are not only search engine friendly, but people friendly too. The hook. The key to a great article is the first sentence. That's often known as the hook. You want that first sentence to be a big giant hook that comes out into the audience and grabs them by the seat of their pants to get them engaged with the topic. Sometimes the hook is a few sentences long, but rarely over 3 sentences. If your reader's not hooked within the first 3 sentences, typically you've lost their interest. They may skim the rest of your article reading titles and bullets, but they won't be nearly as involved as when the hook grabs them and sends their imagination whirling through your fantasy world. Thus, the beginning of an article is the second most important piece of an online article, next to the title. You want something that is refreshing, alive, and interesting enough to hold your reader's attention. It should be able to swoop in and just weave them into the story in a very personal and engaging fashion. For that, we will offer 6 different ways that are highly engaging to most readers and that you can use to develop a fascinating and provocative article from the first few sentences. Pose a question. Questions lead the reader into an interaction. Asking a question begs for an answer and lubricates the reader's mind to get involved and at least imagine what a possible answer might be. For instance, say you're writing about the finance meltdown. Wouldn't a good question be something that the reader can relate to? So you might say, do you know how Wall Street's meltdown affects your pocketbook? Obviously, you've targeted the audience that might most want to read your article, and you've also helped them to realize that they may need to be more informed with relationship to their personal finances. The more the question engages a response from your audience, the more likely they will read the next sentences and more. Stunning statistics. This strategy isn't just great for medical or health articles. It can be also good for human interest and scientific articles. Any stunning statistic that grabs the reader and makes them think is a great way to start an article. For instance, say you're writing an article for the elderly population, people getting to retire. You might start the article with a relevant stunning statistic like 1 in 4 people in the U.S. have failed to save enough to retire by 65. If you happen to be reading this and you are wondering if you have enough money to retire, that statistic will grab a hold of your collar and practically obligate you to read the article. Memorable quotes. This is where your research really pays off. If you follow the instructions to put your research in one folder, you probably highlighted some memorable quotes that you can now use to hook your reader into your articles. It's okay to do this as long as you give credit to the original author. You will also want to keep track of where you found it if the source is offline and you just added it to your research file manually. At any rate, just like all great books have hooks that become memorable quotes also make unforgettable hooks. So as long as you give credit to an author and source, you will be able to use their imagination and creativity to spice up the beginnings of your articles. For instance, maybe you're writing about the stock market and want to bring people into it more. You could open your article with, Plato said the greatest wealth is to live content with little, but that doesn't mean any of us like the idea of seeing our stocks take a nosedive. So find ways to weave in quotes to the hook, and you'll have an excellent jumping-off point to gather attention and give your articles a little timeless wisdom. If you're looking for places to find memorable quotes, check out the resource section at the end of this book. Be conversational. If you want to really get a reader involved, you can start a small conversation relevant to the article. Say the article is about the advances in breast cancer treatments. You might start a small dialogue with a patient finding out the lump is cancerous, and the emotional impact of that revelation. That will definitely pull a reader into the story and help to set the stage for the rest of your article. Create a drama. This strategy is to stage a drama that engages the reader into a startling situation. It should be relevant to the topic of your article, but it can be anything you decide to imagine and invent, or a true-to-life story. So say you're trying to write about GPS systems. You can start with a little story of someone driving into a strange town in the middle of the night, being low on gas, and trying to find a hospital where their daughter is giving birth. It doesn't have to be really terrible, just something that startles the reader who might see themselves within a similar situation and can get their emotions involved too. Tell a good story. This is similar to staging a drama, except that it's less startling and more descriptive. People love a good story, but you have to set the scene first. So you will start by creating a great environment from where to tell your story, and that story will end up being the topic of your article. As an example, say you're writing about home builders. You might start by setting the scene as a potential home buyer as follows. The first one we went to smelled like dog urine and cigarettes. The second one looked like a mini gingerbread house from the curb, and we were finally excited to step through the threshold for the first time, only to be greeted by walls painted a bright flamingo pink. We almost despaired of finding our new home until the realtor took us to the new Glendale community at Riverside Park, built by Pulte Homes. How to leave them satisfied in the end. Just important as the beginning of articles are the endings. Is your reader satisfied that you delivered what you promised when you started the article? Was it sufficiently engaging and interesting to make them feel as if it was worthwhile? In this section, we'll give you 5 different ways to wrap up your articles so that your reader leaves feeling satisfied. Wrap up the loose ends. If you told a story or began a drama, don't forget to finish the story to the reader's satisfaction. Don't leave them hanging, wondering what happened to the main character in the little story or drama. If you do that, they will not trust you the next time one of your articles comes up. In a way, you'll have proven you are more of a tease than a full-fledged author. So always remember to wrap up those loose ends. Always draw a conclusion. Say you decided to ask a question and use that as a basis to describe an experiment that you employed to solve that question. Don't just describe the results, but actually draw conclusions in a very straightforward fashion. The reader may or may not agree with your conclusions, but the other option is to leave them hanging and ready to draw their own. If you're trying to sell an idea and you don't draw the conclusion for them, you may end up finding that they draw a totally different conclusion or don't have the initiative to do it themselves. In fact, when an internet marketer refuses to draw the conclusion that the buyer should buy their product, the sales prospect will normally not draw that either. All internet marketers know that. Even after an especially powerful sales ad, you must ask for the sale. If you don't draw the conclusion that they should buy this product, they won't either. Be the next step planner. Maybe the article was an introduction to a vastly complex subject. Where should the reader go next to find out more? Maybe the structure of the article was informative or a review. Do you know what the reader is expecting next? Maybe they want more how-to, or a place where they can go and purchase the reviewed product. Always anticipate what the reader might want at the end of your article, and then offer it to them. It will make them eternally grateful to you. Keep an eye on trends. Just like New Year's psychic predictions are popular, people really desire to be told by experts what's on the horizon for them. This is particularly true of informative articles that are giving a broad general sweep of an industry trend, people in the spotlight, or current events. So if you know of new trends that are coming down the pike for the future that relate to your story, it can make a perfect way to end a story and give the reader a satisfying dessert with their meal. Becoming the closer. If the article has one main point that you want to emphasize above all others, you can do a review of all potential comparisons and options, and then focus the ending on that main point. It's a way to close the deal in a way that guides the reader into what their final conclusion should be regarding the topic they just read. Connect with your readers. Part of what makes people want to click on your links is good content, and another is the way that content looks and feels in a visual way. There are things you can do to click with your readers so that they will click on your links in return. Some of that is learning how to use your keywords and phrases in natural-sounding ways. Another way is to always promote yourself and your website in appropriate areas in interesting ways. And lastly, make sure that when you write, that you pay attention to the layout of your article. Often, if the article is not visually appealing, it can be a huge turnoff, no matter how interesting and engaging the content happens to be. Always act natural. Let's face it, when you use Google keywords or phrases in your articles, you're going to sound a little stiff. Some phrases sound so unnatural that it can be jarring for the reader of that article. While many internet marketers don't pay enough attention to this detail, it can affect the amount of readers they retain and thus the audience they have to market. Especially if they're following a format to write keyword articles, the final result can be grinding to the inner ear. So what is a person to do if they want to use good SEO tactics and include their keyword or phrase around 2% of the time, with it showing up at least twice in the first paragraph? What if on top of that your formula says that this keyword phrase should show up in headings and subheadings too? It really does grind down your creativity and the style of your writing when you have such rigid writing guidelines. Luckily, if you understand the Google search engine algorithm, you can still use keyword phrases and make them sound natural, even when they're not. All you have to remember is that punctuation is allowed and that Google will ignore stop words like a, the, for, an, at, be, and so on. So if you end up with a keyword phrase that appears to sound completely unnatural, try to get it into a more natural structure using punctuation or stop words. Using punctuation. Let's take a look at an example to understand how to use punctuation with awkward keyword phrases. How about the following? Rally real estate markets. If you use this over and over in your article, it will be obvious that you are coding. However, if you add punctuation, you can use it in various sentences that won't sound unnatural in the least. For example, I live in Austin, Texas. The job market is booming. Another way to use the same keyword phrase would be, why would anyone want to move to Austin? Unemployment rates are at record lows. There are jobs to spare. Finally, you can even punctuate near the end of the phrase. If you're interested in rally real estate, comma, markets for homes have never been better. Thus, you can use the keyword phrase and punctuate it to make it sound more natural. However, when Google crawls your article, it will strip the pronunciation and we'll see that rally real estate markets is the keyword that is given most weight, and it will also assign it more weight in their algorithm. Ever heard of stop words? How about using the same keyword phrase with stop words? Now you can write the following and it will be equivalent to using rally real estate markets as a keyword phrase. Look to Austin for job markets that are booming. Or the Austin job market, comma, a massively booming industry. It's all the same to Google, but it makes a world of difference to your readership. Website promotion. There's no reason you can't toot your own horn, particularly if you're doing article directory marketing. That's when you write articles to put up on other people's directories to drive traffic to your site. Many of these sites don't allow you to promote your products or site within the article text, but they do give you a resource box at the end where you can typically promote yourself, your website, and some other link. Just be careful not to send people to a sales page if the guidelines say that's not allowed. Many of these article directory sites are getting very stringent about allowing marketers to use their site to promote their products, so you'll have to add an intermediary page from the resource box page to your sales page in some cases, like a link to a blog or website page which isn't promotional but has links to your promotions. To be sure, read the guidelines before you add information to your resource box to see what is allowed. When you promote yourself, don't just say, for more information, go to my website. Most people reading that know it's a plug to end up at some marketing page. So instead, you need to be a little crafty with your resource box. You might try the following leads to get people to click into the link in your resource box and capture traffic from the article directories you post within. Before you go, did you know? Link here. To learn more about this topic, go to link here. There's an additional secret you should know. Link here. Want a free report on the top way to do? Link here. Let me ask a quick question. Do you know? Insert title of article linking back to your web page here. As you can see, this is not the typical way to grab someone's attention, and that's why it tends to work. Another way to promote your site that you can see a little of in the above example is to give away promotional incentives for clicking into your site or for registering for your mail list. The free promotional incentive works best if it's some info product like a free report that you can deliver automatically to people who click into your site where you have a download button. This gets them to your site and delivers the product without you having to engage them manually. So anything that can be easily downloaded from your website works. That can include articles, videos, music downloads, or even software. Just be clear in the resource box that they're going to get a freebie for clicking on the link that you provide, and you will see your response rate start shooting upwards. Care about aesthetics. Finally, layout is very important. Your articles have to be visually appealing for them to be intellectually or socially appealing. You can write the best copy ever, but if it's displayed in one large chunk of text with no formatting or even paragraph spacing, there will be very few people willing to even attempt to read it. The reason for that is that the text on your computer can be a strain to read, unlike the text on a page in a book. And even in books, you will see attempts to make the text visually appealing with some sort of guidelines. Well, you have to incorporate guidelines to make your web copy attractive too. Except in this case, what you don't write is more important in some cases than what you do write. We're not talking about adding all kinds of colors or unusual fonts to make your page pretty. In fact, one color and one font is the best way to keep your readers from feeling too strained as they read your text online. What we're suggesting is that you make the article layout easy on the eyes by adding white space and different formatting to draw in the reader and not overwhelm them. When you think about the way people read online articles these days, you know that people naturally skim text, then decide whether to read the article or not. They just don't have the time or patience to sit through a huge article. Otherwise, they just buy a book and sit down to have a good read. Online, people are looking for instant information, and that means that the layout becomes highly important. It should be visually appealing and easy enough to read and highlight your main points so that when readers skim the article, they know which sections to read, or whether they want to read the entire article or not. To conform to those standards, you need to include white space to isolate and highlight different headings, and also you need to use special formatting to keep the eyes dancing through the page as it skims along the main points. For that, you want the following. Bold title. Bold the title so that it's easily picked up within a listing of other articles. It draws the immediate attention of someone who's looking for titles only to decide whether to read or not. Capitalize key words. If you really want to draw attention to specific words in the title, just capitalize all of the word. Just be careful not to overuse this formatting, as it can look like you are shouting to the reader. Break up paragraphs. In real word writing, you don't change paragraphs until the topic changes. This is not appropriate to online writing, where the eyes tend to tire from reading the screen much more easily. Instead, break up paragraphs into short chunks. Some online marketers will even go as far as to insert a new paragraph every 3 to 5 lines of text. Add subheadings. Even if you break up paragraphs, that doesn't make it easy enough for people skimming it to know what each one is about. So add subheadings that quickly give the skimmer a synopsis of what's in those paragraphs. That way they can choose to read it or not. Add bullets and lists. Bullets and lists help to break up text and provide a quick encapsulation of relevant points. Always include subheadings in them so that the skimmer can pick the bullets of interest to them. As you can see, you can even combine these elements to give them more emphasis, as in the list above. We not only created a bulleted list, but we added subheadings, and bolded the subheadings to give them special emphasis. What comes out is a list that is easily skimmed and then evaluated for most important topics to the reader. Combining your techniques. Everything we've talked about up until this point has been focused towards getting you up to speed and teaching you how to write efficiently while maintaining a certain level of quality. All the same, sometimes even the best laid plans go awry, and you don't exactly get the results you were looking for. That's because, like everything, the techniques, the tools, the strategies have to be practiced to become habitual. Once they are habitual, they can make you faster. So here's a plan to get you in the habit of becoming the smartest speed writer you can be. Practice makes perfect. Unless you're a freelance writer, you may not have a huge amount of time or opportunity to practice your writing skills. You will need to set aside time every week, at least 3 or 4 times a week, for however long you want to at the start. The key is to develop a habit of writing, so that when you aren't doing it, you actually feel like something is missing. At first, you can just have a goal to do one 400 to 600 word article every 3 to 4 weeks. However, like any art that you're practicing, the more that you do it, the better that you get. It's like flexing a muscle. You want to start building up some endurance to do more and more writing, even if you don't have a particular subject in mind. You can free associate to get started just by writing whatever comes to your mind. By spending even just 15 minutes a day free associating, you can really open up vast areas of untapped creativity. Try to get to the point where you're writing things every day, whether it's just note-taking, free associating, or actual article writing. The trick is to engage that part of your brain on a regular basis, and that works to promote your creativity and inspiration. Time sessions carefully. If your intent is to increase your speed, then you need to have some way to measure that speed. Keep a clock or watch handy when you sit down to write. You should time yourself from the start of this program to the end as you begin to implement and learn the techniques in this book. At first, while you're learning, it may actually take you a bit more time because of the learning curve. But once you don't have to go back and forth to look things up as you go along, you should begin to see an increase in the speed and the quality of your articles. This slowdown is especially true if you're implementing new software or learning a new way to do things using new tools. You have to take into account that although that will eventually speed up the process, to learn those things takes a bit of time. So if that's the case, don't start timing your sessions until after you have a good handle on the tools, so as not to discourage yourself. Otherwise, do start to time yourself at each session. The way you will measure your success is by noting the number of words that you can write in a set period of time. You can start with 1.5 hours as a baseline, as that seems a short enough time for most people to handle. However, if you think that's too much to start, you can try 15-minute segments of time until you build up to 1/2 hour. To check the number of words that you've written, you can use the word count facility under the Tools menu in Microsoft Word. You may find that within 1/2 hour, you're able to write 400 to 500 words. That's okay, but you should have a goal set for the number of words that you want to write within the time period that you choose. So if you want to increase it to 600 words and then try to beat your time every time you sit down to write, it can be a way to not only measure your progress, but also a fun game that can help spur you to write faster. What's nice about this approach is that sometimes you will beat your time and other times you'll find yourself getting stuck in the process. Either way, you learn something from the experience. When you get stuck, you can go back to the areas that stumped you to see how you could have gotten through them faster. This will help you to refine your writing system so that it's customized for your particular writing issues. Keep it interesting. Not every assignment you get is going to curl your toes, but that doesn't mean that the boring ones can't be made more interesting. It's just a fact of life that there are times when the topics you need to write about are dull or not in your area of excitement and fun. That's when you can easily use this system to liven things up and keep your brain motor humming. The first thing you want to do when you get a topic that doesn't light your fire is to do a frequency word list, as described in Chapter 5. This will help you to start to brainstorm not only profitable areas of research and writing, but also some that may be more interesting to you personally, too. If you find some that immediately pop out at you as having some interest, use those to help you jumpstart the writing process. With those words in hand, you'll go to the Google search engine and start to research for interesting facts and stories that can help you get engaged with the subject. Just remember to add the topic in quotes to get an exact match there, and use the frequency word list in combination with that to expand your search results. Stick to your schedule. Writing is one of the most flexible professions out there. Whether you are a mother of 3, already have a daytime job, or work the night shift, you can still spend time writing any time of day or night around that schedule. So while on the plus side, the flexibility makes it very attractive, it can also hamper people who don't know how to set up and keep a tight schedule on themselves. One of the things you want to do as you develop a schedule to write is to keep in mind when you're most creative. That differs for everyone. Some people write best when they first wake up, and others are night owls. Even if you have other work that has to be scheduled during certain times, you will find that these creative juices tend to flow at particular times for you, and you might have to rearrange your schedule to suit that muse. That just goes along with this type of profession. You will find it has a natural rhythm of its own, and you are the one chasing the muse, not it coming to you. But once you've figured out the best time to write for you, you should keep to it and have a schedule so as to get in the habit and practice of writing, whether you feel like it or not. That might be a 4-hour block of time in the morning when all the kids are in school, or it might be late at night because that's the time when you best write. Either way, try to schedule a set number of hours to work if you intend to take this profession seriously. If you're just trying to start to write, you can start with smaller chunks of time, maybe even during a lunch break, so that you get started just doing it. And that's the other thing that should be mentioned. Almost always, the biggest hump to actually writing is just getting started. That's why the free association exercise can work to stir the creative juices without building any pressure on you to produce a meaningful piece of work. It's just a matter of sitting down and starting to get words on paper. That can often be the biggest stumbling block. Hopefully, by using the strategies and tools in this ebook, you can at least know how to get started with word lists, research, and or even mind mapping to get started and spend less time looking at a blank sheet of paper. If you do get writer's block, don't let that freak you out. Try the word lists, the mind maps, spend time reading instead of writing, or simply get up and have a cup of coffee or take a short walk. These types of activities tend to reduce the stress of performance anxiety and also help you to get the right frame of mind to use the part of your brain involved in creative acts. Take tons of notes. Finally, to increase the speed of your writing sessions, you should use note-taking during other times to brainstorm and collect interesting facts or quotes that can help you later on. So if you find a moment when you're not doing anything in particular, then why not use that time to take a few extra notes on things you might be reading, browsing on the internet, or just brainstorming. You may end up finding lots of fruitful thoughts that can help you when you might be stuck later on for a good idea. To be prepared when the mood strikes you, keep some notepads, journals, or just sheets of paper with pens available to be able to jot notes down anywhere you are. Some great places to put these are by the side of your bed, when you might wake up in the middle of the night with some good ideas, or have some as you're waking up or going to bed. It's also a very restful time, which is why ideas that may not have had space in your brain earlier may now feel free to come forward. Don't just stick to words, though. You can also include photographs, drawings, clip news stories, and even mind map diagrams in your notebook. It can be a multimedia form of note-taking. And what are the sorts of notes you might want to take? Website URLs. You can either keep a separate area for these, its own specific notebook, or you can put them in with your all-purpose multimedia notebook. Remember to put a slight description of the website as well as the URL so you can get back to it. This is the shortened version of what you do with your research document, where you include the entire online article. That's so if later on you find a use for that article, you can go to that notebook and find the URL very quickly. Next, photographs. A picture is worth 1,000 words, right? Well, modern technology has made it really easy to get photographs anywhere using your cell phone or digital camera and then downloading them to your computer. After that, you can even print them out on your printer. Now it becomes almost an instant process to collect photographs in a few minutes when it used to take days to get them developed. Info product titles. Once you start writing articles, you may come up with great ideas for topics that aren't really what your customer wants, but you think would be great to sell on your own. Don't hesitate to keep a separate journal to capture those info product titles that pop into your head as you go about your day, or even when you're in the middle of a different project. If you don't jot them down at the moment, the mind has a funny way of burying that title deep somewhere where only a deep sea diver can end up finding it someday. Quotes. Maybe you hear a great quote on the radio, or a friend says it, or maybe you're reading a book for pleasure or an article and you find a fabulous quote. It doesn't matter if you don't have an article that suits it at this very moment, but you don't want to let that quote leave without first recording it in your notebook. That way, when the opportunity does arise, you'll know that you have some great inspiration to start several articles just waiting for you in your notebooks. High-performance queries. Maybe you found a certain way to locate research that you want to use again. Record the search query in your notebook. Maybe it's a search result that yielded gold in the form of valuable articles that can later on be mined for some topics. Record the search query in your notebook. Then next time you're at a loss as to what to write about or how to perform a particular search query, you can look back on your notes and get started very quickly. Clip stories. Whether they are from a local newspaper, a popular magazine, just an interesting flyer, you can clip these stories and add them to your notebook. Later, they provide a great way to find topics or quotes buried in them that can help you during dry spells or even when they match a particular topic that a client wants. Mind maps. Just because you're not on a computer, it doesn't mean you can't do manual mind maps. It's a great way to free associate and generate brainstorming in a more relaxed and intuitive way. Expanding your opportunities. Besides the extra time you'll have to think up clever internet marketing strategies, speedwriting expands your writing opportunities. Content is very important on the internet, and whether you're freelancing or writing your own website, you can learn how to attract audiences and generate money from your writing much quicker. Freelance writing. If you're interested in freelance writing, there are numerous websites that allow you to bid on potential projects that others post. Two very good websites are elance.com and freelance.com. And if you're writing in English, you will find that this is one job that is not easily outsourced. It takes a native speaker, native writer, to be able to generate content that the audience respects and admires. What kind of money can you make as a freelance writer? It all depends on how fast and how good you are. If you learn how to write 800 words per half hour or 1,600 words per hour, and the pay is a medium $10 per 400-word article, you've just made $40 an hour. That's pretty good pay for something you love to do. But $10 per 400 words is not that great a pay. In actuality, you can get anywhere from $25 to $50 per article in higher quality markets. Now, consider that you could end up making $100 an hour if you became very fast and very good at the same time. As you can see by this example, you can make a good living freelance writing, but only if you increase your speed while not sacrificing the quality of your articles. Internet marketing with articles. Now that you know the types of rates you might end up paying to have quality writers do your articles, aren't you glad you bought this ebook? Instead of paying someone else to do the writing, you now have the tools in front of you to do it yourself and save quite a bit of money. Speed writing, as we've described it here, isn't just about speed. It's also about getting articles that rank well and attract a large audience. For that, you can use the Google keyword and phrases that you develop and research to help your internet marketing efforts. In addition, you now have some valuable ideas on how to use the resource box when you submit articles to article directories. You know that you want people to click into that area and come back to your site. To do that, you need to tease them into clicking your links. In addition, you've been taught how to develop articles that are pleasing to the eye so that people will not shy away from reading them. That's more than most internet marketers bother with because they generally focus on keyword density. Become a professional blogger. On top of this, you have other opportunities that can come up just from learning speed writing. You might decide to start your own blog at WordPress. If you end up hosting it through your own domain, you can add advertising and get sponsors if you attract a large enough audience. Blogs are easy to maintain and develop these days. You only have to write one short article every day. Of course, you can go into longer articles, but most people like to read short articles that they don't have to work too hard to digest. If you're really good at developing and writing your blog, you can even hire yourself out to other people who need bloggers. In the world of freelance writing, blogging jobs are one of the steadiest ones you can get. It provides a source of income that appears weekly, year after year, until the blog owner decides to quit. Although some professional bloggers manage to make a great income, anywhere above $3,000 per month, the majority of bloggers tend to earn much less unless they have a pro blogging job that pays them on a decent basis. If you want places to find professional blogging jobs, go to the resource section at the back of this ebook. Build your own content-rich website. This is one way internet marketers can get really rich. If you build a content-rich site that shows off your expertise in a particular marketing niche, you can end up attracting just the sort of people interested in buying your products. A content-rich website serves as a foil for different ways to earn income: advertising, selling products, memberships, and affiliate referrals. If you develop enough great content so that your site becomes recognized as an authority site, you hit the jackpot. People will want to pay you to promote their products on your site. They may even beg you to allow them to write guest posts for you. You can make money by writing reviews, another very profitable area of content development. The easiest way to make money on authority sites is to have paid ads that people pay you to put up on your site. If your site gets huge tons of traffic or has a large number of backlinks, you will get noticed by advertisers. You can basically pick and choose which advertisers will show up in your website. For that courtesy, you make an easy residual income that is generated month after month. There are even places online that will show you just how to go about doing that. Check out the resource section at the end of this ebook for some great links on how to build authority sites. Create ebooks. Ebooks are a great market to mine for additional internet revenue. They sell well and they are exceedingly easy to deliver. With the system we've provided, you should be able to spin out 100-page ebooks in 3 to 5 weeks, 2 to 3 if you're really fast. Once you write an ebook, you can sell it for $20 or more. Imagine selling 100 copies of a $20 ebook. That's $2,000. Of course, you might sell less than that, but the point is that once it's written, you can sell as many copies as you want since they are electronic. Every copy is basically pure profit because you don't have to pay shipping and handling fees to ship a paper copy of the ebook. Internet marketers like to sell ebooks on a sales page that highlights all the benefits found within the ebook. They may even give away a copy of a free report to entice people into buying the ebook. Within the free report, they will provide a teaser that gets people interested in the full product. Don't forget that if you do create an ebook, that you can still use it to market other products. It doesn't matter that someone paid for an ebook and they get advertising within it, as long as it's not the entire ebook. You should provide a good value to your customers so that they don't feel like they've been cheated. However, that doesn't mean you can't put in a few promotional paragraphs for other products you sell, or even some affiliate links in various places. That way, even after they buy the ebook, you are still marketing to the customer for further sales. What's fun about ebooks is that you can write about your favorite topics and still generate some income. You can even ghostwrite ebooks for other internet marketers. Once you have this skill to write an ebook, you will find there's a huge market for people to do just this sort of thing. Ebook ghostwriting can pay many hundreds of dollars for just one book, and some freelance writers specialize in this area because it's so profitable. Final thoughts. As you've seen throughout this book, there are a plethora of tools you can use to help you become a more efficient and productive writer. Just remember that the best strategy is to organize your writing and follow the steps we provided to increase your productivity. After you've established your well-oiled writing machine, you can keep notebooks around for brainstorming. Keep in mind what a mind map is and continue to use Google operators. You'll be able to increase your time just by learning these few simple techniques. The more you practice, the more proficient you'll become. You will eventually need to download the tools we've recommended throughout the book. They are also listed at the end in the resource section. These tools will take some time to learn, but they will eventually reap healthy dividends in shortening the time you spend at the keyboard and increasing your creativity. So don't give up. Try some of the free ones, and once you're sure you're going to do this for a living, try some of the more expensive ones too. Before you know it, you'll be implementing these speed writing techniques in everything you do and creating craploads of content extremely fast. You'll see dramatic traffic increases by inundating the web with a ton of really good content. And thanks to all that extra traffic, you can expect dramatically increased profits as well. The best part about this system is that there really are no limits to what you can achieve if you just keep practicing and keep working on your techniques. Once you've perfected these techniques and mastered the tools we provided, the rest is up to you.